All right, today is Wednesday, February 21st, 2018. I started the day off in the red, but it finished in the green. And I'm going to talk about how I did that by capitalizing on momentum shifts. Stay tuned. All right, let's get right into these trades. First trade of the day was ANTH, and today was one of the biggest runners of the day. This one was gapping up on news, and I traded. I mean, this is a picture perfect long. It's holding every dip, and it ramped up into the afternoon. So congrats to anybody that played this long all day long. I personally didn't have the patience for it. I actually got an amazing entry and just an absolutely horrific exit. I ended up losing on it. So I bought at the break of the pre-market highs and at the break of the whole dollar, $2. So I waited till it broke the pre-market highs and $2. I think I got in at 201, and you can see that right here at the open is pretty choppy, pretty whippy, and a couple of doji candles. So I bought it too. It immediately pulled back. So then whenever it broke through high a day, I sold half into that just to reduce my risk and lock in just some small gains. Basically, not really to lock in the profit so much as just to more or less just to reduce my risk. So then it's coming back, and then I'm watching this thing, and it's holding this trend right here. So I'm thinking, oh man, this thing might actually take off. So when it broke right here, the high of day, I think I almost top ticked it at like 214, and then immediately it starts to roll over. So then I get frustrated, and I just sell right, and I just sell it into this weakness right here. So I basically made a classic mistake. I bought into strength, and I sold into weakness, and it should be the reverse. I should be buying into weakness and selling into strength. So, but I'm absolutely atrocious at longs and holding longs. I should have been. Tell you the truth. I've heard a lot of really good traders say that they don't even trade the first 15 minutes of the day because they want to see the chart develop a little bit before they really get into the trade. And that's a piece of advice that I probably should go for, because if I would have waited 15 minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If I would have waited 15, maybe 20 minutes, if I would have waited 20 minutes and waited for this thing to hold the pre-market highs, to hold that $2, that whole round number, then I could have entered right in here in the low twos and then caught this ramp up. I know that I wouldn't have had the patience to hold through all of this and this, but nonetheless, I could have bought in the low twos and sold in the high 220s, and that would have been a nice 10% gain. But nevertheless, I traded it like crap. It's a learning experience. So I started off the day a loser, and that's okay. The next one I traded was a WBAI. This one right here has been running up. I got this from Tim Sykes' watch list, actually. This one has been running for 8 green days in a row. 8 green days in a row. So anytime, I love trading stocks like this because anytime they're getting overextended and they've had this many up days in a row, you know that the stock is going to have a pullback at some point, and so I'm just waiting to capitalize on that pullback, on that momentum shift. And you know, stocks, they don't just go straight up. Before they keep going higher, they have to pull back, they have to consolidate before they can move higher. So I'm just looking to capitalize on that pullback. So let's go to today's price action. So today's price action right here. Let's see here. So you can see, if we look at a 5-minute chart, and really a lot of times you can tell when stocks are going to get a pullback is whenever they get a push in volume and in price relative to previous days. So if I'm looking at the last 5 days. If I'm looking at the last 5 days, it's kind of a gradual uptrend, and then you notice today it kind of, it really, it went up like, almost $2 a share in like the first like 25 minutes of the day. Whereas yesterday it only went up $1.50 a share over the course of the whole day. So that's definitely, you can tell the stock is speeding up right there. And so a lot of times when you see the stock speeding up and ramping up like that, that's people are going to be taking profits, and you know that that's might be a good spot to short into. So right here, let's see here. So I was watching this thing. It's kind of choppy, but right here we get a hard pullback. Now, if you notice, every single time this thing, whenever it pulls back, it just breaks the high of day and keeps going. Pulls back, breaks the high of day. This time, it did not break the high of day. When I saw that as a lower high, and I saw that as a sign of weakness. Had a pretty hard pullback. It bounces right here. I got short at 1891. 1891, it came down, it bounced, it made a lower high, and I added to my position at 1885 when it made that lower high. I thought about even adding right here, but I didn't want to push my luck too much, so I just rode this. Actually, whenever it came down here and it had this big huge drop, I covered half my position. It bounced. I should have added, but I didn't. Hindsight is 20/20. And then it came down here, then it pulled down to VWAP, and I sold the rest at. Actually, I think it broke. VWAP was up here a little bit more. Let me see if I can get VWAP up. VWAP, it went through VWAP, if I remember correctly. Let's see here. Add study VWAP. Oh, there it is. There's VWAP. So yes, it broke through VWAP. So I sold the first part at VWAP because sometimes these things they'll hold VWAP and they'll consolidate the entire day, and then they'll come back and they'll break out. So I sold half at VWAP just to lock in some profits. It bounced a little bit. It broke through VWAP. Once it broke through VWAP, I think I got the rest of my shares out at 1825. So that was that trade. I took a piece of this move. And if you look at this thing, let's look at it from the 5-minute chart. This thing could still continue down tomorrow. Who knows? So I'll be watching this at the open. And I mean, this could be a momentum shift, and this thing could just continue to fade off and keep going down. We don't know yet. So this is on watch tomorrow for potential short. The next one, the last one that I traded was or HTGM, and this one has been one that I have been trading a lot lately. So let's look at the daily chart. All right, so there's the daily chart. This thing, I traded it yesterday, shorted it yesterday, and then today. I'll show you where the momentum shift was in it. The real momentum shift was when it broke a key support level. Now all these indicators are annoying. How do I get remove? Remove study. All right. All right, so that's a little bit clearer to see. We'll remove the 9 EMA too. All right, enough of that. So right at the open, it kind of came up. I actually shorted right up here. I think at 532, I think it was my entry. It came down. Red to green was right at like, I think red to green was, there it was. When I was trading E-Trade, red to green I think was 510, something like that. It was like 510, right in here was a red to green move. And a lot of times you'll see these stocks when they go from green to red, when they go from green to red, a lot of times they really, really drop off and they fall apart. Well, this one, it bounced and it held, and it kind of was consolidating, and it was holding green on the day. And so whenever it held green, and see this trend, when it broke this trend and it came up, I sold half right here at 510. And then whenever it came and it broke the trend, I thought it might hold green and then come back. So I got out the other half at, I think, at 517. And then, but I still had it on watch. I was still watching it, and you can see that it's holding green, but just barely. Then right here, so let's go to our 1 minute chart. Right here, man, I had been watching this thing because I was like, man, this thing could go green on the day at any second, and it's like it like falls off the cliff. It bounced once, and then it just can't bounce anymore. And I was watching it, and then I had to go down to my basement to get something. And when I came back, I come back to this thing just giving it up hardcore. If I would have seen this right here, this little falling off the cliff action, I would have immediately started shorting whenever it was going red on the day. But it fell off the cliff. And then when it started to bounce, I took a starter position at 485, and I know you're probably thinking that's such a terrible entry. Well, because sometimes these things, when they fall apart quick. They might get a micro pullback or a micro bounce and then just keep going down. So I took a small position, a starting position, just building into my short right here at 485. It bounced a little bit more. I took some more at 492. I took some more at 495. And then I held through this consolidation, and then it kind of came up a little bit, and this right here, VWAP was just right about here. So a lot of times these things will get rejected at VWAP. So you got a whole dollar number, and you got VWAP. So I shorted more right there at 498, and right about that size I was done. I had enough size, and then you can see. It was kind of I had to sit through a lot, but it consolidated, and then it started taking off, started coming down. I sold some at right into this dip. I sold some at like 486. Then I sold some more right at the bottom at 478, because you never know, it could double bottom here and double bottom here. It could hold this. You see it started to bounce just a little bit. So I sold some here, and then I sold almost. So by this time, I probably had about 2/3 of my position out when I sold, or when I covered right here. When I covered right here at 278, I had about 2/3 of my position out, and then I sold another half of that into this. And then I decided to hold 350 shares overnight, just because this is such. When it broke the 480s, this is a key support level. So if you look at it, in the last 5 days, see, that's a pretty significant level. See, it held here, and so now it broke through. So maybe tomorrow it might continue down. I don't know. So I decided to hold 350 shares, a super small position, overnight, just to see if we can get some continuation down. I'd love to see this thing flush down to the low fours. So yes, that's how I capitalized. Two different types of short trades. One is breaking of going. One is a green to red move, breaking intraday support and flushing down, and the other one is a stock spiking up, speeding up, and shifting in momentum, making lower highs, and then we capitalize into the drops into those lower highs. So if you liked the video, please like it. Subscribe if you want to keep watching more of these. I appreciate you watching, and happy trading to everybody out there. And don't be afraid to leave any comments. I'd like to hear what anybody else has to say about my trades, or any info that you might want to add. But thanks a lot for watching.